All right. I want to say, oh, it's so lovely to stand in front of you here, but actually I'm incredibly nervous about standing in front of you here, so I will say that's the truth. I've lived my life as a writer, so I say a lot of things, but I don't say it when I'm looking at people. I say it behind a computer screen. So this is a real stretch for me, and I do feel the sweetness of all you guys supporting me as I maybe fumble through this talk. When RJ called me and said, I want you to do a talk about retirement, I said, RJ, what in the world would I talk about? I don't have a major new career. I don't have a big trip I've planned. I've just been observing things and morphing myself as I observe things. And he said, that's what I want you to talk about. So what you get is just my own one-person experience with this transition. And I've kind of put it into three categories. One is about time and how my relationship to time has changed. I sort of could call that, is this Tuesday? Because I really don't know anymore. The other theme is about making decisions, and I called that yes, no, and maybe. And I'll say more about yes, no, and maybe. And then the third one is listening. I'm trying to figure what's next for me. And it's interesting, just already in this thing, I think my being here is not so much about me saying anything for you as what I'm going to get equally from being in this space. Some of my career was covered in what JG said. I started working when I was 19. My family was not one that encouraged college, so I did college later. And I worked from 19 to 65 when I retired last year. I worked for Sutter Health, and what I did mostly was writing, first for paper, back in the world when you read off of paper, and then to the web when it moved to the web, and I got involved in that. And so I explain things mostly, from how a hip replacement works to why you should do your time card properly. And during that time, as he said, I had my 4 sons, first one born in 76, the last one born in 1990, and they didn't leave the house officially, done with college, gone, till about 2012. So I lived on a schedule. I mean, publications were about schedules, kids are about schedules, everything was about a schedule, and that's how I lived my life. And I was talking with Frim back there about retirement being a huge transition. I thought back about, it's equal to graduating from college, it's equal to getting married, it's equal to having children. It's huge in the way your life will change, or at least for me, and especially in relation to time. I thought, when did I last in my life not have a schedule or not have a dictated plan for what I was going to do? And I went all the way back, not when working, not in school. How about when I was a kid, up till 4? No, your mom and your dad scheduled your life. So I was stepping into a time when there was no schedule other than what I created. And I really thought about time. I wrote some little blurbs on Facebook about non-work, and in one I said that time all my life had been like a corset. You know that thing that women used to wear, and they'd cinch that sucker up until you could hardly breathe, and that's how you went through your day. And even at night, if you took that corset off and you hung it up, it was right there. And you knew the next day it was going back on because your schedule and your time was going back on. And now time felt, I said, more like a silk robe. Like it's soft, it's there, but it's soft and it's flowing. And I spent a month or two just like being amazed at the sun coming through my eastern windows and then moving around the house and glowing in the west. And I started to notice things that I just hadn't had time to notice. My mind was doing what it was doing. nature was just amazing. When I walk out the door, it would be like, oh my God, feel the air and listen to the leaves. And I began to notice people. I would be sitting talking with someone I knew, and I would suddenly get a different sense about that person that apparently I'd just been too mentally busy to pick up on. And then I'm starting to recognize things about myself as well. You know, there's time to understand oneself and who I see. I'm trying to meet Judy now. Who is she without the other stuff? So here's a quote from Hermann Hesse. The high value put upon every minute of time, the idea of hurry is the most important objective of living, is unquestionably the most dangerous enemy of joy. And I absolutely found that to be true. So there's room for joy now. I'll move on from time to yes, no, maybe. You know, in Renewing the New, I recognized that when I left work and I left structure, I would have to invent a new life, and it would have to be in a different direction, more directions than my old one. So making decisions, I have a lot of yes things. I'm active, I do Japanese drumming, and I dance, and I do yoga, and I have a book group. So those things that I love are going to stay yeses that I love. And things that are a no to me, I'm going to be even more clear that they're a no to me. You know, if someone says you want to go to the NASCAR rally, I'm going to say, no, I don't think so. But it's the category of maybe. And I had a lot of categories of maybe. I'd be invited to do something and I'd start to worry and, you know, will I really enjoy it and who are the people involved? And sometimes maybe it would end up that I wouldn't do it. So I said, when I retire, maybes become yeses. So I have done that. I'm standing here because a maybe was a yes. I've had wonderful lunches on a Tuesday afternoon with people that I get to know because I said yes. I'm taking a trip to Alaska with 4 people, only one of whom I know. And as an introvert, that's a strange thing for me to do. But I've always wanted to see Alaska, and so I'm going to go. And then things like boiling eggs. I have a friend who said to me one day, Judy, will you boil some eggs for me? And I thought, well, using my new algorithm, I certainly have time to boil eggs. She takes them to River City Food Bank and contributes them to their food drive. I don't know if you know about that food bank. It's amazing. It's homeless people, it's anybody in need, it's employed people, and they hand out food supplies every weekday. So Sue went on vacation and said, Judy, will you boil the eggs and take them to the food bank instead of me? And so I did that for several weeks. And I think that's going to lead me into maybe volunteering at that food bank, a place I wouldn't have gone if I hadn't said yes to something. She did that partly in reaction to the election. She said she felt so discouraged and wanting to do something valuable. So her small piece was the local piece of providing eggs to the food bank. And I know this is not about politics, but I have to say that the election demoralized and frightened me a bit as well and kind of changed my sense of adventure in the world. So then I'm moving to my third section, which is what next? And I wish, as I thought about this talk, I really wish I had a wonderful thing to tell you, like I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly what I should do with that next 20, 30, who knows, years of my life. But I don't know that. I am listening to intuition, I think, and to the yes-no meter. And I'm going to quote a famous guy who's going to speak a little bit later. Bob retired from Hewlett-Packard about 6 months or so before me, so he was like my mentor. I could watch him. And he said he spent a while resting and recovering from a PTSD he didn't even know he had. A PTSD he didn't even know he had. And I feel I'm still in that resting and recovering phase. I'm sleeping, I'm being peaceful, I'm listening, and there's a lot of things that, ambitious things that I could be doing, that book contract or, you know, hospice training, things that I want to do, and maybe I will do, but right now they're not pulling me. In fact, anything that requires too much scheduling and ambition and striving, the inside of me is saying, nope, not now. And I'm just sitting with, is stillness an okay place to be? And even if it lasted 20 years, I don't know. I can be a mom to my grown kids. I have one adorable granddaughter, Lola, and hopefully some more. Maybe that will be who Judy is, and not striving for something else. I don't know. And maybe this talk today will help me figure that out. So 2 more quotes for you. I love quotes. Those on Facebook know that about me. Virginia Woolf says, "Yet it is in our idleness, in our dreams, that the submerged truth sometimes comes to the top." So I'm waiting for that. And Wendell Berry said, "It may be that when we no longer know what to do, we have come to our real work. And that when we no longer know which way to go, we have begun our real journey." So that's my story, folks.